What's up, everybody? How are we doing this afternoon? We got another live stream for you guys here on Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Flez. Usually, for these live streams, we're doing a watch-along. We're usually breaking down, going over the Celtics versus whoever they're playing. First round, it was Miami. Second round, it was Cleveland. But now, we're doing a radio call-in live stream. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the place where you guys can interact, where you can speak out and talk about the Boston Celtics. So like I mentioned, if you guys would like to speak, if you guys would like to talk about the Boston Celtics, check out the comments down below and look at the pinned comment. You join the Discord link, go down to the Celtics channel, go into the waiting room and send up a thumbs up emoji. After 5 to 10 minutes of me briefly going over the series, some pointers that maybe you guys could have missed or some updates throughout this team so far that we've had through this afternoon, I'm going to give that as well. And then I'm going to, kind of be like, if anybody wants to come up, if anybody would like to speak out about this team, kind of give their thoughts or opinions, you will have your voice heard. And I think that will be a great experiment for all of us here tonight. So, welcome back to this live stream. Like I mentioned, the Celtics are gearing up for the Eastern Conference Finals, and they have their opponent set. As we all know, the Indiana Pacers are going to be the team that the Boston Celtics will be taking on in the Eastern Conference Finals. Not the team that I necessarily suspected to be the top team and the team that the Celtics were going to play. I did not, speculate that this would be happening, but it is who they have run into, and I think that is good for the Boston Celtics. People are going to say that this is, an easy road, that the Celtics got lucky with getting, all these injured teams and having to deal with the Knicks and the Pacers, the Knicks and the Bucks, all tired out and stuff like that. But as Celtics fans, we need to realize that this is great for us. This is best case scenario. I don't care if they say it's an easy path to a championship. If we win the championship, we're still the champions. Right, ladies and gentlemen? We still won. We still get that crown. We still have that trophy. We still get that Larry O'Brien trophy. So I am in no complaints. But let's look, kind of evaluate, and go over what we kind of know with the Boston Celtics already going into this series. So first, let's look. As you guys know, you missed the videos, Josh did a video on it this weekend. I did a video on it past yesterday. But Kristaps Porzingis has been ruled out basically for game 1 and 2, and it has been confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, that he is going to be out for game 1 here. The Boston Celtics came out with the injury report this afternoon, about an hour ago, in which Kristaps Porzingis still has that psoas strain and will remain out. Now, for the Boston Celtics, what does that ultimately mean? It means that they're going to have to kind of dive into their big men, into their front court, possibly using guys like Xavier Tillman, Osei Brissett. But we've seen Al Horford step up in Game 5. We saw a guy in Luke Cornett do very, very solid on the defensive side for the Boston Celtics. So these are things that I'm expecting from this team, from this front court. But if we want to kind of dive in and look at a little bit more, a little bit ago, around 30 minutes ago, we got a little bit more of an update from Bobby Kravitsky. So we have a lot of tweets from Bobby here. Does a fantastic job covering the Boston Celtics. Is on the How About Them Celtics podcast. Does an absolute fantastic job over there with Jack and Sam. Always try to tune in to catch up on that. But he updated that the Celtics have added Xavier Tillman due to personal reasons to their report for the Game 1 injury report. They list him as questionable for the season opener. Now, if you guys do not know his personal reasons, the reason he is going to be out, I saw on Instagram, his father sadly passed away, which is absolutely devastating for a guy in Xavier Tillman. So we want to wish, obviously, the best for Xavier Tillman. Don't want to, obviously rush him back or make him do anything like that. I'm a huge Xavier Tillman fan ever since he's come over as an acquisition for the Boston Celtics in the trade deadline. And I've been very, very hyped up, very, very happy that the Celtics were able to, get Xavier Tillman, lock him up, have his early bird rights, be able to retain him, and I honestly wanted to see him in this series. I kind of felt, and we'll dive into a little bit more, with this Indiana Pacers team really using that front court depth with guys like Siakam and Miles Turner really being their big-time scorers for this team in the playoffs so far. I honestly thought that the Boston Celtics will have some troubles, would want to use Xavier Tillman a little bit more, help him out on the switches, because Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis can't switch off of those screens. But if Xavier Tillman is going to be out, that is going to be A-okay. We might get to see some of Brissett or maybe even some Kata possibly in some of those lineups. But if we want to look, kind of go over what the Celtics had to say, what Joe Mazzulla had to say in preparations for this series, we can break that down for you guys in a second. kind of want to just go over in the first series preparing for Cleveland and Orlando. He had already said that they worked on, the main game plan for both teams, but they would work on little intricacies depending on who they were playing in their matchup, depending if it was the Cavs or depending if it was the Magic. So I kind of feel that Joe Mazzulla went under the same exact game plan for the Boston Celtics this time in preparation for the Eastern Conference Finals. My bet is that he was banking on possibly going either with the those guys or not. So with the Pacers and stuff like that. But let's dive in. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. With the Pacers, and the Knicks gonna focus on different things. But let's dive in and look and kind of dive in and see what they had to say. So Joe Mazzulla on whether the Celtics will slow the pace down against this Indiana's up-tempo approach. Everything just depends on how the game is going. You're not going to bring the game to a halt. Also had to say this, I'm trying to limit the Pacers' high-octane offense. You have to have a clear understanding of what type of shots you're willing to live with and what type of ones that they're going to shoot. You could be very disciplined in the things that you want to take away. And talking about the Pacers' depth, just that they're a balanced team. They have a couple stars, but then a second unit of guys that are just as important, if not more important. They have a bunch of guys that can impact the game in many different ways. And I have to agree with Coach Joe on this. The Pacers have a lot of depth. They've been a scary team. I personally saw them play against the Boston Celtics. It was without Tyrese Haliburton. It was that first matchup where the Celtics beat them by 50 points. But that's a completely different team that we're seeing with this Pacers squad. This Pacers squad that we're prepping for, the one that we're going up, is Tyrese Haliburton, Pascal Siakam now, Miles Turner, Aaron Nesmith. He's been balling out versus the Boston Celtics when he's played against us in his revenge games. We'll have to wait and see, kind of evaluate that. But Joe Mazzulla seems locked in and ready to go. So does Jaylen Brown, if we want to kind of look at these tweets as well. Jaylen Brown on withstanding the Pacers go on runs, saying you can't let it snowball, you can't let it happen again, you can't let it happen multiple times, and if it does, you still got to stay even, kneeled, come back ready, and to fight the next day. So Jaylen Brown, not going to let this Pacers team, get on his ropes. And Jaylen Brown's been a guy for the Boston Celtics who's like to pick up this pace, like to pick up this tempo, kind of, work with that in his favor here for the Boston Celtics. And we have seen that versus the Indiana Pacers this season. So I'm definitely expecting a big round out of JB on both sides of the floor, offensively and defensively. I think he's going to really try to get this Celtics team in those runs, keeping up the pace with this Pacers team on the offensive side. And then defensively, we need to slow them down. We cannot let them get in rhythm. We need to be able to take away their shots and just live with the shots that they're going to take. We kind of want to look at their playoff splits throughout the series. We can see Siakam has been very, very good for this Pacers squad. Haliburton has been decent, but hasn't taken the most shots for them. And Miles Turner has been a solid scorer. But they've got depth all around. Andrew Nembhard hit a big shot for the Pacers to win, I believe, Game 4 it was, or Game 3. Absolutely huge for the Indiana Pacers in that regard, and he could heat up at any moment. Great defender. Obi Toppin versus the New York Knicks had some big, high-flying dunks, some big moments, and once again, could be a spark plug to come off their bench. Cannot disrespect TJ McConnell. That guy single-handedly won some games for the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks and helped them desperately in this playoffs on both sides of the floor. Playmaking, setting up good shots, hitting his good shots in rhythm, but also, being a good defender, getting steals, and just being that all-out tenacity guy. Can't wait to see him and Peyton Pritchard's matchup. And then once again, once again, Aaron Nesmith, the Celtics, revenge guy, the guy who played for Boston, a guy who's targets Boston, wants to go at them at every single moment. And even Ben Shepherd and Isaiah Jackson. Those guys, have been used here and there for this Pacers team. But Ben Shepherd can get hot, kind of turn into a Sam Hauser-esque guy for this Pacers team. And obviously, a guy in Isaiah Jackson could be one of those, Tillman-esque defenders that could help out down low and kind of hinder maybe if Porzingis comes back, or if Cornette and Tillman or Cornette and Horford are doing very solid. They can put him in to kind of limit the Boston Celtics and stop them on the defensive side. So like Joe mentioned, this team is deep. Even Rob Version, I don't know if you guys know him, but he on the chat, he's not here right now, but he mentioned down below in the Discord, which is pinned down below if you would like to join to be able to participate in these streams. He even mentioned that, this Pacer team has a lot of depth from, Haliburton to Toppin to Nembhard. The Celtics know that this Pacers team can win and can sporadically, use different guys in every single way to beat this squad. So my honest opinion, some of the things that I would like to see is play through Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in this series, because honestly, I don't know how the Indiana Pacers are going to be able to handle the Boston Celtics defensively. As we all know, they went up against an injured Bucks team, an injured Knicks team, and those games were close. Sometimes the Pacers' offense would heat up like we saw yesterday in Game 7, but most of the time, their offense was stagnant. Tyrese Halliburton not really scoring that much. Some of their wing players not playing the greatest defense. And I know that Aaron Nesmith can lock up some guys on the defensive side, but do we realistically think that Aaron Nesmith is going to be able to guard Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown alongside Pascal Siakam? I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trusting with our guys. I'm believing in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I can see both of these guys absolutely dominating in transition. Jaylen Brown attacking the rim, going at ease. They have no Benedict Mathurin, which is huge. He's been out for the whole entire season since February. He's the wing that could kind of stop us, but him, no problem. Having a guy like Jason Tatum being that scorer, hitting those threes, getting this team in rhythm, I want to see it. And then Drew Holiday and Derek White need to be on TJ McConnell and on Tyrese Halliburton like a hawk. You got to make sure that they are playing as a scorer, cannot let them be a facilitator, cannot let them get stops on the defensive side, and lock them down. Even throw JB on Tyrese Halliburton, the bigger guard, trying to mess around with him, messes up his dribbles. Jaylen Brown is a clamp on defense, and we've seen it throughout the entire playoffs, and I want to see him on Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton for a majority of this series. I want to see Jaylen Brown clamp up these two guys and really lock down for the Celtics, especially in these first two games. With no Kristaps Porzingis and this team in the playoffs, like we mentioned, let's look. Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam have been huge for this squad in the playoffs. They're going to be playing through both of these guys, and the Celtics, I'm telling you, they need to be able to stop both of them. Al Horford, Luke Cornett need to be fantastic on the defensive side with no Kristaps Porzingis in Game 1 and in Game 2. Ultimately, we've seen Horford have that big blossom game on offense in Game 5. We don't need that. Just lock down on the defensive side. Luke Cornett, lock down on the defensive side, and have guys like Hauser, Pritchard, Brown, Tatum really step up. Derek White really step up on the offensive side to take over. I want our big men playing the best defense. I want Drew Holiday playing his best defense, and I want to shut down these three stars, because if there's no Tyrese Halliburton, no Pascal Siakam, and no Miles Turner, this is a wash. It is over. And this Pacers team is very inconsistent on the offensive side, similar to the Miami Heat in some points. So we're going to see games where they shoot atrociously from three-point range. They're trying to score at the rack. They can't get it done, and the Celtics will win some of these games by 15, 20 points. In my honest opinion, looking at this series, I do think it is going to be the toughest series that we do face, just because obviously Donovan Mitchell went down versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, obviously, the Heat, we played them. They were a tough opponent, obviously not having Jimmy Butler, but with this team fully healthy, they're going to be our toughest opponent. I'm going to say 5 games for the Boston Celtics, possibly even 6, but I think they'll be able to get it done in 5 once again, be able to chill, put their heads back and relax, and now that we have Denver eliminated, I am relieved. Denver was the scariest team to me. I know that Minnesota can do damage. I know Dallas can do damage, but I think they match up better against each other. And I think if Denver played Dallas, Denver would have been in a situation where they would have been relaxing like us, and then we would have been screwed, because Denver would have been healthy, ready to go. We would have been healthy, ready to go, and it would have been an all-out battle. A series between Minnesota and Dallas. I ultimately think that the guys from Minnesota can lock down Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, be able to stop them. And yeah, some of their role players from Dallas will turn up, but Minnesota has some role players too. Guys like Naz Reid, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels. Those guys can step up and be huge. But let's look at the comments, guys. I haven't looked at the comments today, so I want to look at the comments, see what everybody's talking about down below, and then we can get to some of the comments. Celtics Roblox said, last time I anticipated, I went first, so I'm going to try to go second. No worries, Celtics Roblox. Patrick Barron, how we doing? We played the Pacers 5 times last season in a 3-2 record. One on an average of 129 to 116 points. That's awesome. That's what I'm saying. Their offense is hard to match, but our offense has to be ready to go, Patrick. Like I'm saying, we got to be able to mirror their offense and be able to stop them on the defensive side. Be able to slow them down. Make sure they don't get into their sets and into their motions. Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate you liking the commentary. This is your first time popping in here for the streams. Like I mentioned, we do live watch-alongs every single night that the Celtics are on. We'll have another one tomorrow, and then we're going to be doing them all throughout the playoffs. Every other night the Celtics are on, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. Those automatic game 1 through 4. We will be here, ladies and gentlemen, on this stream, breaking it down with all of you guys. We do these radio call-ins. I'm trying to do them once a week. I'm doing them, for more Eastern Conference previews. But once, the series are over, once the playoffs are over, we'll have these once a week. We'll get to do more radio call-ins, more talks in with you guys, more just debating, breaking down, going over this team. I personally enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. So if you guys do enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button down below so we can get as many Celtics fans in here as possible, hanging out, enjoying the stream, having a good time, because that's what we ultimately want here on Celtics Digest. I hope when Sam Hauser I hope when Sam Hauser, they don't put cold water on him, put him on the bench and let him play. Is hot. I mean, okay, no worry. You hope Sam Hauser is hot and they don't pour cold water on him on the bench. Let him play. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Your boy Sam Hauser had big games, Patrick. Game 1 had that big quarter in the second quarter, hit 4 threes, then finished 4 for 6 from 3-point range. And then in Game 5 had 17 points with 5 3-pointers. We didn't really see him that. We did see him so much in the second round, but he wasn't, that all-out guy, that guy that really stepped up for this Boston Celtics team in the second round. But I would love to see Sam Hauser have a tremendous shooting night in the Eastern Conference Finals and bring those fans back to life on his name and get them, obviously, speaking about him. What's up, homies? I would hop on, but I'm out. LOL, sorry. Go Celtics. No worry, T-Sizzle. Glad you're with us here tonight. How you doing? And BX is here as well. How we all doing? We got some fan favorites in here. We got some of the OGs, the regulars chilling in the stream tonight. So I appreciate you guys coming through and hanging out. But at this point, we're going to be asking. I'm kind of done breaking down what I had to say for you guys. So I'm going to go into the streaming thing. And if anybody would like to join the stream, would like to be able to give their thoughts, give their opinions on this, click the link, the pinned comment that is up here. Pull it up right here. You click this link down below, go to the Celtics channel in the Digest Media Discord. You can get into the waiting room and you can participate in the stream. No one has sent a thumbs up, so I don't know if anybody would like to join the stream. If anybody would like to, you're more than welcome to join. Just send me a chat down below that you did join the Discord. I'll look to find you in the waiting room. We'll pull you up. We'll have you on here, and we'll have fun. Are taking this playoff seriously yet? Who's taking the playoff seriously? Are we taking the playoff seriously or the Celtics? Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're asking? I think the Celtics are taking the playoffs seriously at this point. They seem locked in. They seem ready to go. Ever since the first series, Jason Tatum said, even when we beat Miami, we're not shying away from things. We're not thinking into the future. Even when Draymond asked him after they beat the Cavaliers, "Oh, are you waiting for Jokic? Oh, are you waiting for this?" Nah. We're not waiting on anybody. We're focusing on what's on front of us. Right now it's the Indiana Pacers, and we're going to get ready to go. What's up, Stat Clipping? How you doing? How you doing? Are you excited? What are your thoughts? Down below. Drop them down. BX saying, "C sweep. Book it. Book it, baby." Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. Are we taking this playoff seriously? I've been taking it serious the whole time. I knew Miami. I thought Miami, honestly, was going to be 6, even without Jimmy Butler. Thought it was going to be 6. Didn't really trust the Celtics team. We've had seen in the past going to Game 7s when it shouldn't have happened. Wasn't really trusting the squad, but hey, we got it done in 5. Once Jimmy Butler was ruled out, we got that done in 5. I was okay. Let's take on Cleveland. I thought 5, possibly 6, and again, they got it done in 5. So I knew that we were possibly going to lose one of those games both times, but I am confident with our squad. I am confident that we'll be able to handle it and take care of it. I think that going into the playoffs here, we're all chilling right now, having a good time, hanging out, and I think we're confident in our squad. You know what I mean? We got to be confident. Boston Celtics are, it's kind of crazy to think that we're gonna see a new Finals MVP. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Jason Tatum, possibly Tyrese Halliburton, possibly Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving, or even Anthony Edwards. We'll get to see a new Finals MVP, which I think is really, really cool. I just hope Tatum plays better, win or lose. I want to see him dominate. Hey, man, Stat Clip, and I agree with you. I know that's been one of the main complaints from Boston Celtics fans is Jason Tatum needing to step up realistically, but I really like what I saw to Jason Tatum in that Cleveland series. In Game 3 and Game 4, he got 33 points both nights. Still had double-digit rebounds in both of those games and was doing other intangibles to help out the squad winning, playing good defense, getting steals, getting blocks, really helping out this team in every single which way. And that's what I love to see. You know what I mean? I want to see my superstar player dominate and do well, and he clearly put those fans away. Now, obviously, in the Eastern Conference Finals, I do agree. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they are the best 2 players in this series, and they need to prove to the NBA that they are the best 2 players in this series. Take care of it, take it under control, wrap it up 5-6 games, and patiently await the next team that you're going to be playing. Regardless if it's Dallas, regardless if it's Minnesota, you need to be patient and be awaiting one of those teams. Me too. He was solid. But still, I know what you mean. You always want more from your superstar stat clipping. I don't blame you. You're not wrong. You want to see the superstar put out and show up a fight. You want to have him having that fire. And the sad thing is, stat clipping is, I don't know if you're on social media. I don't know if you have a Twitter or X or if you have an Instagram or anything like that. But if you don't, obviously, you know the narrative around Jason Tatum just from ESPN and all that stuff. You know what I mean? He's too soft, or, he needs to do better. He needs to lead this team. But realistically, Jason Tatum has been solid on every aspect. Yeah, he hasn't been that dominating scorer. I'm not going to say that he has been throughout the whole entire playoffs. But in this second round, he really stepped up. He led the Boston Celtics. I saw a stat in every single stat category in that second round. Points, led. Rebounds, led. Assists, led. Steals, led. Blocks, led. Shooting percentage, led. Like, everything you'd want Jason Tatum to do, everything you'd ask your number one superstar to do, he stepped up and did, which was fantastic for me. Now, honestly, I would love to see some guys like on the bench really step up more. Guys like Peyton Pritchard, he had a really good second series, but kind of quiet in the first one. Sam Hauser had some good games in the first series, kind of quiet in the second one. I'd like to see them get into more rhythm. Drew Holiday as well, really stepped up late for the Boston Celtics, scoring-wise in those last couple of games. We're going to have to see that carry out into this series as well. White really stepped up. Yes, exactly. White has stepped up tremendously. Went a little bit quiet towards the end of the Cleveland series, but after Game 3 in Miami, this man did not slow down for 5 games in a row. He legitimately came out white hot for Game 3, Game 4, Game 5 in Miami, and Game 1 and Game 2 in Boston. That is all you have to ask, especially offer a guy who, third, fourth option on your best night? Like, he's absolutely insane, and he can play like a number one or a number two option when you need him to. That's what you want to see out of your role players. Those are good quality role players. You don't want role players that, can go off for 20 one night but will give you 2 the next night. You want role players that are going to consistently give you a good number of averages. And Derek White, let me tell you, he is the definition of giving you that. He gives you a block a night. He gives you a steal a night, guaranteed. Plus, he's giving you, at least 10, 3, and 5. What are you going to complain about that? 10, 3, and 5 with 1 and 1, probably shooting 40% from 3 and 50% from the field. I am not complaining about a guy in Derek White doing that. Hell nah. And he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. He's going to test that free agent market. And the Celtics gotta keep him. Brad Stevens has already said he doesn't want to lose him. I personally don't want to lose him. I know how all the Celtics fans feel. They definitely don't want to lose Derek White. So the Celtics need to make sure they lock him up, wrap him up, secure him long term. And yes, it may be pricey. Yes, we're going to be a very expensive second apron team. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Most of these teams with the new CBA are going to look like that with the contracts going up. And then Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White. Yes, it will be expensive, but you can have around the edges guys like Tillman, who's still going to be underneath contract. Pritchard could be a movable contract that you can trade in the future. Obviously, Sam Hauser's going to be gone, but then you can get some guys through the G League. We obviously have guys like Brandon Slater, who's been on the podcast, possibly can move up from a two-way, kind of similar to how Namus Keita did this season. Possibly even some more guys in the system. Joe Wieskamp. Let me try to think. DJ Stewart. J.D. Davidson. There's an abundance of great talent. Drew Peterson, sorry. There's an abundance, and I mean that, of great talent for the Celtics G League team. We just saw them get to the G League Finals, and yes, it was a tough matchup. Even Jordan Walsh. I'm forgetting the Celtics' #1 draft pick this season. The Boston Celtics have that talent with this second apron to build up and still have some good quality role players and find some diamonds in the rough. And they got a great GM in Brad Stevens who's going to make sure that happens as well. We need more of a fight from Horford this series as well. At least shoot the ball better. Be always fighting. Yeah, I totally agree, Josh Crampton. I totally agree. We got to have Horford have a little bit more of a fight. Now, obviously, we saw him play really good in Game 5, but Game 3 and Game 4 was very quiet offensively. We need to see that step up for the Boston Celtics for this team. And like I mentioned, guys, if either of you guys, from Stat Clipping to Dwayne, if any of you guys want to talk, if anyone you guys want, instead of just typing away, if you guys want to actually speak, voice your opinion, give your thoughts, just click the link down below in the Discord, join, come to the waiting room, send a thumbs up, and I'll pull you right up. Horford was awesome last game. Exactly Stat Clipping. He was 0 for 10. Technically 0 for 11 because he missed his first three-pointer that game. But he was 0 for 11 combined from Game 3 and Game 4 from three-point range. And then Game 5, man, oh man, missed his first 3 to go 0 for 11, but then boom, 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 boom. 6 for 12 after that. 50% for your boy Al Horford. 22 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks. Woo! Do it. Al Horford, let's not forget, is doing all that at the prime age of 37 or 38 years old. He's getting close to that 40 age bomb, but he's doing it, ladies and gentlemen. He's proven, running out there, bang, I'm going to yam it on you. Get that out of here. I love what I see out of him, and if you guys know, long-time listeners, you guys know, I've been preaching about Al Horford possibly being a starter in the NBA, and the NBA, I still believe he can be. Right from there, that just gives it to show you. 25 minutes, he can be a true starter and even have really big games for you. Not obviously going to be fourth, fifth. He'll be your fifth option if he's your starter, but who cares? That's still a fantastic stat line out of a guy in Al Horford. Dwayne, we need to shut up ESPN NBA today. We need to shut them people up. I hope we sweep Indiana. I'm hoping we take care of it. I don't know if you're talking about what I'm talking about, but Dwayne, I got this. I'll pull it up on the stream for you guys to see. But is this what you're talking about, Dwayne? I hope so. Let me see if I can put my phone. No, it's not going to show. Damn it, because the green screen. So, from what I can see, Monica McNutt, Tim Legler, Jay Williams, all picked the Minnesota Timberwolves to win the NBA championship. With Greeny, the Jets fan, going with this green team and siding with the Boston Celtics. Greeny, shout out to you, my guy. But yeah, we got the receipts. Dwayne. We got the receipts. Stat clipping, we're absolutely locked in. Hey, man, I'm locked in too. I can tell from Joe. Look, we can pull this up right here. Joe, really locked in. Wants to see how the pace is going, control the game. Obviously, clear understanding of the type of shots. Joe Mazzulla is ready to deal with this depth, really to deal with this high-octane offense. And so is Jaylen Brown. Ready to stand this team, go on runs, cannot let it happen again. I'm telling you, Jaylen Brown can control this offense for us. And then on the defensive side is going to play Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam like a glove and absolutely clamp them. JT has been criticized for not getting to the line enough. He's been to the line 82 times in 10 games, shooting 82%. Hey, BX, I want to know who's been criticizing JT for that, because I'm not going to lie to you. I pulled up a stat a couple weeks ago where JT, I believe it was in Game 3 or Game 4, was leading the Boston Celtics in attacking to the rim, had the most free throws for the Boston Celtics, and had the best free throw percentage. So whoever's critiquing Jason Tatum for that, they need to check up on their things, because JT has been, like you mentioned, has been doing all of those things, getting to the rack, and really, really greatly as well. I feel like Jason Tatum isn't taking a lot of three-pointers. I feel like that should be mainly the gripe, is maybe Jason Tatum hasn't sidestepped and taken as many threes. Tatum and White are the only players that aren't under contract yet, and the expansions are happening soon. Yeah, that's the thing. The expansions are also going to help us out too. Obviously, with in a new TV deal. I can't forget about the new TV deal. Come on, that's going to give us so much money. It's going to flood the market. Then you mentioned stat clipping, the expansions. Obviously, we're rumored for Seattle, rumored for Las Vegas, but we'll have to wait and see. But when those two come out, when those expansions come through, when Tatum and White, I think they'll get their extensions. Tatum's definitely due for his extension this offseason. He's eligible for it. He will get his long-term extension due. He will be wrapped up. They'll have Jaylen Brown. They'll have Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jrue Holiday all locked up. Now, Jaylen Brown will be making $50 million. Porzingis and Holiday making around $30, so that is around $110 million. Salary second apron is at $186 at this exact moment. So even if the Boston Celtics were to lock up Jason Tatum on a $50 million deal, $160 out of that $178 million is locked up to our four superstars. Therefore, Derek White is going to be on a little bit over, and then we'll have to wait and see with our intangibles. Wick is going to be paying a lot of money to keep this team ready to go. But like I mentioned, even if they lose guys like Hauser, Cornette, Pritchard, they have young guys to come up. J.D. Davidson, DJ Stewart as guards, Drew Peterson, Joe Wieskamp as wings for Sam Hauser, and O'Shea Brissett, Jordan Walsh, Neemias Queta, and Xavier Tillman for bigs. They have an abundance of young players, and great young players. And let's not forget about Jaden Springer either. Sorry, forget about Jaden Springer. He's a fantastic defender. Guy who was traded for Delano Banton, and not to go on a tangent here, but Delano Banton and Lamar Stevens, let's not get this wrong. They were great NBA players and played great roles for the Boston Celtics. But they were brought in to play a specific role for this team. Shea Brissett and Lamar Stevens kind of had that similar role, but Shea Brissett was a better, more fierce, more tough, tenacious rebounder, while Lamar Stevens was a little bit more of a scoring three, more of a 3-and-D wing, kind of similar to Sam Hauser, but not as great offensively as Sam Hauser. And I think a little bit smaller, so not the greatest defender, didn't have that length and size that Sam did. Now, Banton was brought in to be that big defender for the Boston Celtics, and he was solid on the defensive side and a solid playmaker. But as we saw with the Boston Celtics, could not really necessarily get down on a clamping island. with these two new additions of Xavier Tillman for, obviously, Lamar Stevens, they found another rebounder, smaller guy, kind of similar to Al Horford, and could be that replacement for Al Horford. Then when you look at the Jaden Springer move, a replacement for Marcus Smart, a guy who had great intangibles with Sam Cassell over on Philadelphia already. And from what we have seen in his sporadic minutes here and there, even in his times where he's been thrown in for 30 seconds or just a minute to play defense in the half court, this man is absolute clamps, and I love to see it. I truly think that he can grow, mold, be one of these guys. And if not, it's a tradable contract that they use for the future. But I do believe that Jaden Springer, if given the time, if given the talent, if given the development, he could be that hard-nosed knock defender to be that replacement possibly for Jrue Holiday in a year or two if he gets up in age. And yeah, he won't be that playmaker, won't be that offensive presence as Jrue Holiday, but defensively could be that guy, and Derek White could take over for his offense. Sorry to go off on that little tangent. We'll look back at the chat. Wow, the chat's popping today. Thanks, guys, for having a good time. I appreciate y'all chatting down below. But if anybody wants to chat with me, have more chats one-on-one, actually speak, come join the Discord. 86 corrected. Logan, is there anything you legitimately worried about the Eastern Conference Finals matchup? The only thing I'm worried about, Logan, realistically, is how are we going to be able to stop Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner with Al Horford and Luke Kornet in games 1 and 2. Now, they play through them. They loved Tyrese Halliburton has been known this series as just, being that facilitator, getting them open. We need, and I'm telling you, we need to have Tyrese Halliburton be a scorer in this series. We need to prioritize him as that scorer, as that guy to, go up and get shots. They need to lock down on Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam, throwing Jaylen Brown on both of those guys, having Jrue Holiday. We need to be a defensive machine, locked in as a defensive unit. Cannot have those sleepy games like we did in Game 2 versus Miami or versus Cleveland, because I'm telling you, this Pacers team will eat that alive for breakfast, at home, on the road, regardless. They're going to take that pace, change it up, and absolutely deliver with it. I'm worried with whoever comes out of the West. They'll be significantly better. I don't know. I think that the West has a good matchup. I think that it's going to go 6 to 7 games. I think if you throw Jaden McDaniels on Luka Doncic and you throw Nickeil Alexander-Walker on Kyrie Irving alongside Anthony Edwards as those two defenders, you can limit the defense, the prowess of the offensive ability from the Dallas Mavericks. Now, obviously, Dallas has had some big games from guys like Derek Jones, P.J. Washington, Derek Lively. So the Timberwolves are going to have to be able to, lock those guys and have those defensive prowesses met. But this team is the best defensive team. Limited Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon to a certain degree and Jamal Murray to beat them in that series. And also went through a Phoenix Suns team that was very, very talented. This team, it's not like it's gone against just other good defensive teams. It has taken out other great offensive juggernauts, and the Dallas Mavericks are just another one in their place. So ultimately, in my opinion, I think that it's going to be a tough series. I ultimately think that Minnesota is going to come out with it, but I would love to see Dallas more for the story of Kyrie versus Old Town team Boston in the finals, and so that we can have streams with me and your boy Marcel on here doing duo streams, Mavericks Digest, Celtics Digest for the finals. I think that would be absolutely electric for both of us and ultimately make one of us ecstatic. No, Logan, I had to jump in with your question. Yeah, I watched it today on break, and that's what they're talking about is how they have to beat the Celtics. And if the Celtics don't have what it takes, and the Celtics don't have what it takes. Yeah, no. Celtics definitely have what it takes. Trust me. I'm telling you. They have Indiana. Yeah, they're a fast-paced team, but if we want to talk about playoff experience, this is the team that lacks playoff experience out of all of them. The Heat had some guys, at least in Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, that had been to some conference finals before and matched up against the Boston Celtics. The Cavaliers had guys in Donovan Mitchell, who had been in the playoffs before and done good runs. Even some of their guys from the Cavs were in the playoffs last year. But this is Tyrese's first playoff appearance, which, again, I don't know why people are critiquing him. It's his first playoff appearance. Pascal Siakam has some good playoff experience. Miles Turner has some decent playoff experience. That's basically it. So looking at this roster top to bottom, we can stop Pascal, and we can make sure that Pascal isn't that dominant force, that X factor for this team, because let's not forget, the Bucks had no Giannis Antetokounmpo, so Brook Lopez is going to be able to stop both of them? No. Chris Middleton's going to be able to help out with Bobby Portis and stop both of them? No. And then you look at the Knicks, OG was out for most of the series, Randall was out for most of the whole playoffs, Mitch Robb was out for the most of the series. What, Isaiah Hartenstein and Josh Hart? You need to have two quality guys to be able to stop them. The Celtics have that in Kornet and Horford, When Tillman comes back, I think we'll be able to see him too, if he is available to play. But once Kristaps Porzingis is back, I see no issues with the Boston Celtics going against this team. Legger's a tool. Greeny picked the C's every game last year in the ECF. Let's go! Yeah, I'm a big fan of Greeny. People say, I'm not going to lie, the two comparisons that I've gotten for doing work, I've gotten John Krasinski, which if you've followed the channel, you've either probably said it or you've seen it down below in the comment section. I've gotten John Krasinski a bunch. But Greeny is another one that I've gotten as well, which I kind of see the resemblance a little bit, you know what I mean? Only thing I don't really like is he's a Jets fan, as I'm a Pats fan, you know? But Greeny, A1 guy, love him on Get Up, and has some great sports takes, regardless of what team it is in favor of. He's very knowledgeable with the sports he talks about and doesn't have much of a bias. I'm obviously a little bit biased with the Celtics as they're my hometown team, my favorite team. Everybody is a little bit biased with their hometown team, but I like to think of basketball, in an objective way. I like to view it as an objective sport. I like to root for the good players. I like to, root for the teams that are the underdogs and root for that. I like to not look at in a Celtics mind scope all the time, but sometimes we have to look at it. I can't wait. They always criticize JT. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, this team has played bored all year. They won the finals since day one. This is 07-08 part 2. That's what I'm saying, BX. I'm feeling it. I think they're ready to go in. I think they're locked in. Like I mentioned, I can pull these back up, but Missoula's locked in, it seems like. Tate Brown seems to be locked in. Derek White was talking about it. Drew Holiday was talking about it. This team is ready to go. I think this little couple days off of rest didn't slow them down either. I still think that they're going to be full guns blazing coming out in Game 1. Game 2, again, little skeptical as we've seen the Game 2 performances so far. But I'm believing in this team in Game 1 to come out full throttle offensively. Okay. I regrettably have been criticizing Tatum for shooting too many threes. Hey, stat clipping, it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we want a superstar to take more threes. I've been criticizing Tatum for taking a lot of threes as well. But let's be real here. In the playoffs, he's got to be a little bit better with the ISO ball. Needs to take a little bit more of control, but not too much. If he's shooting 2 for 8 from 3, don't be jacking him up. You know what I mean? Don't be taking him. Take it to the rack. But if you're 3 for 5 from 3, feel confident in yourself. Keep jacking them up. Keep getting them up. I hate talking draft talk this time of the year, but my crush is Carlton Carrington. 6'5 PG, learn under White Andrew. Carlton Carrington, I'm not going to lie, I don't really know much about the draft, BX, but I do help out on Suns Digest over there as well. And my boy CJ Pierre did a video on some Suns draft picks, and he brought up a guy in Carlton Carrington from Pittsburgh, a very good point guard, a very good defensive point guard as well. I don't know. I really like that as well. Personally, I like PG. I like our point guard room. I think possibly J.D. Davidson could turn up to be a nice offensive guard if the Celtics were to move off Peyton Pritchard in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. That's what I'm saying. I like JD. I like JD. Sprinter and Tillman will shoot 2 million threes. That's what I'm hoping. I need Jaden Springer to get his arc down from 3-point range, and Tillman, lock him in that gym with Al Horford, put him in the corner, put him at the elbow, and just go kick 3, kick 3, kick 3. Get his confidence up. We've already seen, and this was my major gripe, his shooting stats went down playing alongside Jaren Jackson Jr. and Steven Adams. Coming to Boston in this half season, his shooting numbers jumped up this half season. Just going to show you, playing alongside great shooting bigs and Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford will get you the dub, will get you the wins, will get you better on the offensive side. And we've already seen that with him. Stat, not a fan of Davidson. Feels like we're forced to like him. PP will have a better pro career. I think PP will definitely have a better pro career. But the one thing that I am concerned of with Peyton Pritchard is we already saw him ask out last season when the guard room got too deep. My question kind of is with this team is if Peyton Pritchard wins a championship with this Boston Celtics team this year, does he view it as a possibility of, hey, I already won a championship, I already took a sacrificial role, I feel like I can start in this league, because I feel like he can start in this league. Looking at some teams, my poster fell, sorry, can't look at it, but I think there are a plethora of teams from Orlando, San Antonio, Washington, Brooklyn. He could start on, guys, and he could be a great quality starter for this team. Again, not a 25-point per game score for any of these teams, but a quality starter, a good spark plug off the bench, especially in that Orlando offense as a 3-point shooter. He's exactly what they could have used for their playoff spark. If he got consistent, if he got those minutes, if he got that run, he'd be a guy to turn up and go off for them. Now, like you mentioned, I think with having Pritchard here, it's tough to bring up J.D. Davidson as he's kind of a similar offensive guard. But if Pritchard were to ask out, I don't think it's going to happen, but I just have a weird feeling in the back of my head that if the Celtics win, they get it locked up, he has a tradable contract, he could ask out, and if he were to do that, then the Boston Celtics would say, hey, you won a championship, you took a sacrificial role, we'll move on from you, we'll bring up JD, and then they could, trade Peyton Pritchard, dip into some cap space, or even use that cap space to bring back another player back on a cheaper contract, or even a sign and trade, kind of how we saw with Grant Williams just taking draft picks back. I don't really know. Nuggets did a great job on AMP, but they want offensive cold. That won't happen with the C's. That's what I'm saying. Their offense went sporadically up and down all series between the Nuggets. Cat is way overrated. Hey, my brother, I'm not going to lie to you, BX, huge Minnesota Timberwolves fan. Karl-Anthony Towns, favorite NBA player. But I do have to agree. I don't know if he can be a second option on a best team. He's looking good alongside of these guys, but I've been a big proponent this season, as if it does not work with Minnesota, you take Karl-Anthony Towns and you trade him. Move Naz Reid into that starting lineup. Get some more help in the other positions of need. Now, I don't know what that necessarily would be. More scoring off the bench, maybe, as my light falls onto me. But we'll have to wait and see. Ooh, we got some more comments. You guys are killing it with the comments here. C's after the most playoff minutes and the team's left. This is their year. That's what I'm saying. I'm believing in this team. Siakam overrated. Terrible trade in my opinion. For who BX? Who did the bad trade? My boy on Raptors Dodgers, Ben, thinks it was an absolute felice getting OG Anunoby. But he was not the happiest with that Pascal Siakam trade. My boy Ben on Raptors Digest wanted the Boston Celtics, the Raptors, to extend Pascal Siakam, keep him on that Raptors squad, and ultimately possibly even trade him into this offseason, as he would have been extended on a long-term deal. Teams would have felt more comfortable trading for them, and he could have gotten some better value on them. I really do kind of want to like JD. Hey, man, I like JD. I'm also a big fan of DJ Stewart, though. What's up, brother guy from Duke? He's a young talent, too, and I don't think that he's going to translate into a two-way guy or anything like that this year. Don't get me wrong. But another year in the G League, another scoring guard, another offensive playmaker for this team. Once again, Drew's getting older. Possibly Derek could leave in free agency. We don't know the necessarily certainty of this point guard group for the next 3 to 5 years. So having these young guys that are good offensively, can develop, can actually bloom and blossom is huge. Absolutely huge. BX, I want to believe it. I'm hoping the Shees show up defensively. I think so, Logan. That's the one thing is I'm not really scared defensively versus this Pacers team. I'm very confident. I think Nesmith is a great defender. Don't get me wrong. And speaking of Aaron Nesmith, he would never have turned out to be this on the Boston Celtics. I want all you to know. I want everybody to know. The Celtics never gave him or Romeo Langford the room to grow because they had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Josh Richardson and all those players. They were never going to grow. They were never going to Marcus Morris. They were never going to develop. They never were going to grow. They never were going to turn into these players they were going to be. The Celtics, I love Danny Ainge to death because he brought us Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but if they were smart, they would have traded those picks instead of drafting those players so that they could have helped out in the future. Now, obviously, those players brought us Brogdon, which brought us Porzingis, and that brought us Derek White from Romeo Langford. So we did get, our players for the Boston Celtics eventually here. But Nesmith has turned out to be a great defender for the Pacers, but he needed to go to another team to grow into that guy. He would have never turned into that guy. That would have been that type of player for the Boston Celtics team because he never would have been able to grow into that. I'm a Finns fan. I'm always in the Finside channel chat. Hey, man. I know that the Finns obviously kind of rival the Patriots a little bit, but I have to give you credit. The Finns got a nice team. I don't know what they're going to do with Tua. Don't know what they're going to do with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Got some good offense. Got some good defense. I'm believing in them. I think they're going to come out with the division this year. Buffalo's taking a tank. Obviously, New England's gone down. It's between you and the Jets, in my opinion. I can't be picking the Jets, man. Can't be going with the Jets. For Indy, you're saying BX, it's a bad trade for them. I know. I don't know. I kind of like the fit alongside Miles Turner. I can see what you're kind of saying free agency-wise. Could have had some money to possibly go after Paul George or something like that. But I think the fit will be okay. It all depends on if he extends and how long he extends for and all that. They're going to extend him. They're going to keep him. But it all depends on how long for. I just haven't seen much of JD, so I want to see how much he fares in the NBA. Same here, stat clipping. That's what I'm saying. I want to see him get his run. I want to see him get his opportunities. And I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. It possibly won't even happen with the Boston Celtics. Who knows? JD could leave the Boston Celtics, get picked up by another team in Summer League, and go out and play somewhere else. We'll have to wait and see. Charles Miller. What's up, Charles? Charles, what's good, my guy? Said we'll be watching on YouTube and checking in with you. Can't wait. Go Celtics. No problem, Charles. Thank you so much. I know that you got the YouTube TV, so you'll be, checking in here and there, but we appreciate you for coming out in the stream tonight, hanging out with us, talking with us. And BX saying Neemseth is going to get postered by JB in this series. I'm hoping so. I'm thinking, I think it's possible. He's definitely going to want to go up there. He's going to go high flying. He's going to want to contest. He's going to want to be a physical player with this Celtics team, like we mentioned. Loves to get his revenge versus us. Loves to be going up against us. Kind of like views us as like disrespecting him, but like, does he not realize that? Okay, one, Aaron Nesmith. You're playing behind Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, our two best players. Do you really think you're going to get any playing time over them, any shine over them, any opportunity over them when they're the best two guys on our team, especially when you don't have a true point guard because Marcus Smart is basically a 2? No. Then, Aaron Nesmith. Let me ask you another question, my guy. When you are the number 1 ranked shooter in that draft class and you shoot 91 for 100 from 3-point range in the combine and you get selected at the 14th overall pick, but, the pick that the Celtics actually had at 27, which got traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, which was actually our pick, which we took theirs, which was 14, was Desmond Bane. You guys technically lost. You guys got the second best shooter, and he turned out to be better than Aaron Nesmith already in his career and for the Memphis Grizzlies. So ultimately, in my opinion, the Boston Celtics, if they don't even get that pick, they can still get Desmond Bane, who's still the second best shooter, and he probably turns out to be better than Aaron Nesmith because Aaron Nesmith doesn't even get to develop on his way that he would have on that team with the Memphis Grizzlies. So, Aaron Nesmith, calm down a little bit. It's not necessarily our fault you didn't pan out. It's kind of your fault too because you balled out and then never showed out in the games that you actually got playing time. You had all summer league, you had all preseason, you had some time in the G League to show us what you really had. It took you a couple of years to get there, and that's totally fine. I'm not mad about that. But don't come at Celtics fans like we disrespected you or we didn't like you or we didn't want you. We all wanted you to grow. We all wanted you to see and blossom and be the guy that you are now. I'm rooting for you as a Celtics fan over here. We're going up against you, and yeah, it's going to be tough to see you play against our squad, but if you make a tough play or if you make a nice basket or make a good defensive stop, I'm going to give you your credit because you played for the Boston Celtics, bro. Like, regardless, don't be coming hating at us. It's not our fault. Once I mentioned, sorry for that little rant right there. Trey Chua says stat clipping. Hey, that's what I was saying. I wanted them to get Lamar, baby. Lamar, me and my boys have been screaming all college. Lamar going back home with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek. I don't even care if it's in my division. Ooh, that is a show, not even for the video game, playing against with the Dolphins and Madden, making them the most OP team. But just in general, that would be absolutely cool. Stat clipping is saying Celtics in 5. I'm rocking with the Celtics in 5. That's what I'm saying. Drop down your thoughts down below, your predictions down here. Fortunately, doesn't seem like anybody wants to come in the Discord, come and have a chat, come and talk. So that's A-okay. No worries with that. We're going to be wrapping up the stream shortly then if that's the case, if no one would like to come in. But like I mentioned, this was supposed to be a radio live call-in stream. So if you guys do enjoy these, you guys want to participate next time, possibly even get to have your voice heard through the stream, get to talk. Instead of, me and you having conversations in the comment section, you could actually be up here with your voice, basically as like an announcer, speaking over to everybody, and you could have your voice heard, I could have my voice heard, we can go back and forth. We have some great conversations. We'll tend to do these more. Maybe we'll do some post-games too, depending on the playoffs and stuff like that, depending on how things go, everything like that. But once again, I appreciate all you guys' support, everybody tuning in here for this live radio call-in stream where we got to, kind of break down, kind of talk. I kind of gave my thoughts. We were on here for about an hour, so, absolutely fantastic for the people that popped out. We had around 10 to 12 people, so again, I want to say shout out to you guys that tuned in, regardless if you're 5 minutes, 2 hours, or an hour, for however long we were going. I really do appreciate it. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have another live watch-along live stream. So if you guys did enjoy my commentary, if you guys enjoyed hanging out here, kind of breaking down the Celtics, tomorrow we'll have one of these. Oh, I can't even pull it up, but we'll have a window capture pulled up with, the score down below. We'll have the game on in the background. You'll have me breaking it down, commentating, going back and forth. You guys can drop your thoughts. I can drop mine, and we can have a fantastic blast going over this Celtics Eastern Conference Finals, as I'm very excited. I think we're able to get it done in 5. BX is saying sweep. Josh Crampton saying Celtics in 6 or 5. Charles Miller's dropping that the Celtics are going to win tomorrow by 5. So that's what I'm feeling. I'm excited for tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited for tomorrow. Joe, JB, the team is locked in. As we know, no Kristaps Porzingis for tomorrow is ruled out officially for Game 1 and most likely Game 2 with the Adrian Wojnarowski update. And Xavier Tillman has been added as a late addition as a personal reason. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But got to be able to stop their presence down low, control the tempo, keep up with their fast pace, and be able to score on this Pacers team. The Celtics can do all those qualities. I'm believing they can wrap it up in 5 or 6 and take this series home, go to the finals for the second time in 3 years, and hopefully we can bring that champion and Banner 18 back to Boston. As you guys know, we are one of the final 4 teams left in the playoffs. Absolutely fantastic. If you guys enjoyed the content, if you guys are new here, follow us on Twitter. Join the Discord down below so you can participate in the next radio call live stream, and hit that like and subscribe button as we are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the playoffs, and we are less than 100 away. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and showing your support. Once again, I'm Bruce Velez. I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into this radio call-in live stream. I'll catch you guys all tomorrow with another live watch along here. 7 o'clock the game starts. We will be live. Want to say have a great rest of your night. Go Boston Celtics as we prepare for Game 1 and get your good night's rest ready. I will be ready to go and amped